Tim Cook is stepping down as Apple's CEO. John Ternus is taking over on September 1st. And whether you love the Tim Cook era or not, this is one of the biggest shifts in Apple leadership history. What's going on, everybody? It's Mike here. It's been a minute, but I could not ignore this one. Apple officially announced that Tim Cook is moving into the role of executive chairman, and John Ternus, Apple's current SVP of hardware engineering, is moving into the CEO role. Apple says this follows a long-term succession plan that we've known about for some time. So in this video, I just want to unpack what all this means, who John Ternus is, and what this might mean for Apple. For a lot of people, Tim Cook is Apple. He took over as CEO back in 2011, and since then, Apple's become an even bigger machine. Bigger products, bigger services, bigger global reach, bigger everything. Under Cook, Apple grew from a $350 billion company to over a $4 trillion company in just 15 years. And annual revenue alone rose to more than $416 billion. So this is not some small executive shuffle. This is the end of an era, but the beginning of a new. So who is John Ternus, and why is this happening now? John Ternus has actually been at Apple since 2001, an over 2-decade career span with the company. Funny story, his first product was the original first-generation cinema display, and he recalls this one story of getting pulled into debates over tiny design details, like one in the middle of the night where a set of rear-facing screws needed to have 25 grooves instead of 35 so they would shimmer against the light in the right way, even though it was the back of the product. Sources say this really illustrates how detailed he is and makes you think a lot about Steve Jobs. And while he's sitting there debating this thinking, what the hell am I doing? He also realized exactly at that moment that this is where he needed to be. He came up through product design and hardware engineering, and over the years, he's helped lead hardware development across iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple Watch, and AirPods. He also played a tremendous role in helping to revive the Mac. More recently, he's been tied to major Apple hardware like the iPhone Air, Apple Silicon Mac Pro, aka the cheese grater, Mac Studio, Mac Mini, MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, iPad Pro, AirPods 4, and most recently, the MacBook Neo, which despite being an entry-level machine, consumers love the price, Apple can't keep them in stock. He might not be the guy that most people associate with the chips and the inner workings and software. I know everyone wanted to see Craig Federighi get this position. John Ternus has absolutely been one of the key people behind the devices defining modern Apple. That matters, because unlike Tim Cook, whose legacy is heavily tied to operations, scale, and supply chain excellence, Ternus is much more closely associated with the product side, the hardware side, the stuff people actually touch and hold in their hands. And that's what makes this interesting to me. My immediate read is that Apple may be heading into a more product-led chapter again. Now, while that's my opinion, when you put a longtime hardware leader into the CEO seat, it naturally makes people wonder if Apple wants to sharpen its product identity as it moves into the next era, especially right now, because Apple's also dealing with a much more intense tech landscape than it was many years back. AI pressure is everywhere, expectations are higher, and while we can all agree Apple Intelligence may so far have missed the mark, they're clearly not giving up. With everything going on with AI, I don't think Apple's showing any signs of slowing. See, if you really think about the reason why we haven't gotten the Apple Intelligence we were promised a couple of years back yet, it can't just be because Apple doesn't have the answer. They do, they're just waiting for the right moment to show it. But before we dive into that, let's talk a little bit more about John Ternus and get a better understanding of who he actually is. Mark Gurman reported that Ternus was a driving force behind the Touch Bar, if you remember, that debuted on the MacBook Pro 10 years ago in 2016, and later helped kill it once it became clear it was not the future. And then we got some really beautifully designed MacBook Pros that didn't have a Touch Bar, but brought back a lot of really integral pieces to the product that pro consumers love. As much of a fan as I was of the novelty when it first came out, I have to say I absolutely love the current gen MacBook Pro. Looking back, it wasn't worth the sacrifices. And you might remember I did a video talking about the next gen MacBook Pro 10 years ago. It's just kind of crazy how we've come full circle. I definitely can appreciate and better understand the moves Apple's making now compared to then, thanks to John Ternus. Mark Gurman also reported that Ternus was wary of the headset concept that ultimately became the Vision Pro, and was similarly cautious about the Apple Car, seeing projects like these as potential distractions that could drain focus and resources. So to me, this says a lot. John Ternus isn't just chasing shiny objects or getting to the end of the finish line. He's thinking about where Apple should and should not be spending its energy. But at the same time, I don't think it's fair to just reduce him to a hardware guy. Clearly. I'll give you another example. One of the most interesting details is that Ternus actually pushed for the iPad to have a more distinct software identity because the hardware was being held back by the software. That matters to me because for the longest time, I felt like the iPad should just run Mac OS. For years, I would buy iPads and try to do as much as I could with them, but I always found myself going back to my MacBook Pro. And as iPad hardware accelerated over the years and got more powerful inside, their actual software never really seemed to keep up. So there's a Tom's Guide interview from about a week ago now where John Ternus and Greg Joswiak talk about how critical it is that these products need to stay separate. And it's why John Ternus pushed for iOS to snowball into its own iPad OS for the device, a much more advanced, comprehensive version of the standard iOS for iPhone. It's true, as novelty as it is, I wouldn't want to have to constantly touch my Mac. I love point and click. I love keyboard and trackpad. These things are essential and I wouldn't want to change them. But anyways, Apple's made it clear that they have zero intentions to merge the product into one. And that excites me because if John understood this, then perhaps he understands the bigger issue that Apple's facing right now. Incredible hardware alone just isn't enough anymore. And frankly, the same could be said for incredible software. The two have to marry, they have to meet, which again, is a lot like what Steve Jobs believed in. Especially in this era of AI, this is where Apple needs to turn it up a notch. And on Vision Pro specifically, this is where I land. The current hardware is still early, still expensive, still niche, but I also think the software is fantastic, and very obviously a look into the future. In that same recent Tom's Guide interview, Ternus and Jaws basically described the Vision technology as inevitable, and framed spatial computing as a whole is where Apple's headed to next. I said this in my review, and I still believe in it today, even if I'm not using the product all the time, I still firmly believe Apple's trying to replace your iPhone. And years ago, I found an article about this, and I just can't find it anywhere. And it makes me scratch my head and wonder, did Apple's PR team want this taken down? Were they not ready to unleash that on society yet? Did it scare shareholders away? Was the board not ready to talk about it? I don't know. So to me, the real quantum leap isn't abandoning the whole Vision idea. It's actually shrinking it. It's taking everything Apple's learned from the Vision Pro so far and shrinking it down into those slimmed down XR glasses that feel far more natural, mainstream, and lightweight. Except it's not Meta, it's Apple. Just imagine a world where your iPhone is inside of your glasses, but you can continue to go about your day, not have a battery pack strapped to your waist, and instead of a simulation of cameras, simply look through a piece of glass and more or less get your life back. And that's where this gets even more interesting, because if Apple truly sees Vision as a long-term platform, not just a one-off headset that got revised with a faster chip a few years later, then the goal becomes obvious. Break past the overexposure to blue light and the strained necks and the awkwardness of the current headset hardware and move towards something effortless that places us inside of the technology and lets us be human again. That's my opinion, of course, but it kind of does line up with what they're talking about in this interview as far as their vision, no pun intended, for the future. Anyways, on Ternus, what also stands out to me is leadership style. Gurman's report basically paints Cook as more deliberative, with Cook being more likely to ask questions and talk through concerns, while Ternus is more willing to make that call. With Cook, if you give him option A or B, he'll leave it up for you to decide. He won't necessarily pick. Ternus, on the other hand, he's gonna pick. That doesn't mean he's Steve Jobs 2.0. And from Gurman's report, Ternus does still come off as a little risk-averse in his own way, especially if he's been skeptical about some of the projects that Apple's been putting out the past couple of years. Or canning, for that matter. Beep, beep. But it does suggest a new leader that'll be more decisive on product calls while not being so reckless. And honestly, that sounds pretty damn good to me right now. Now let me throw a wrench into the mix for you. Some more eye hype. Ternus reportedly told employees recently that Apple is about to change the world once again. Holy f***, which only adds fuel to the fire, but it tells me that Apple's making an intentional decision about who they want leading the company into a very different future. If you ask me, there are a few things to watch. First, does Apple become more decisive again from a product perspective? Second, do we see a stronger identity around hardware? And third, does the company feel more focused over the next 12 to 24 months? Because when leadership changes at this level, it always affects how people read the entire roadmap, even if nothing changes overnight. And the timing is wild, because this year WWDC runs from June 8th through the 12th, so the next major Apple event cycle is coming up fast. next. Even though WWDC will mostly be software focused, the conversation around Apple does go beyond software. You've got the AI reset, the smart home push that's been rumored for a real long time, the inevitable iPhone Fold that will be here by the fall. This is going to be one of Apple's biggest hardware swings in a really long time. So the way that everyone interprets what Apple says from here on out is going to be a lot different. So, in closing, I think Tim Cook deserves a lot of respect. Following Steve Jobs was a tough act, basically an impossible assignment. And whether people realize it or not, Cook really did lead Apple through one of their strongest and most successful periods in their history. But now, of course, the question, what does Apple look like after Tim Cook? What kind of CEO will John Ternus be? And is this the start of a more exciting chapter for Apple, or just a quieter continuation of the same one? Listen, Tim, all I ask is that you ask John to please bring back live on-stage keynotes, and make sure at least some of your drip rubs off on him. Let me know what you think down below. Be sure to hit a like if you enjoyed, and if you want me to keep covering Apple again, especially with everything going on right now, make sure you're subscribed. Feels good to be back.